Hi, this is Nikki and I'm back with part 2 of today's message. So this is a message for all of those who are on this journey to to basically unconditional love and back with the other part of your heart, basically. Which is the reason why I've chosen this card, which is perfect, because instead of from the bottom of my heart, it is from the heart of my bottom. Which I loved, because these relationships are completely turning everyone's head on what's the old dynamic of relationships are, moving into a new dimension of love and a new way of living. And I've recently been channeling a lot of letters for people around the event. And I'm going to share those letters because what's been really, really apparent about what does the event mean for me and my twin, that kind of question. I think there's that, like this, you imagine the event to be, oh, it's a day in time and this is going to happen. And what's been really clear is about you are the event. You living from your heart is what creates the event. So the event wouldn't happen without you. So it's not like the event isn't outside of you. The event is you. And it's about you living in the heart. And so again, this is why I've picked this, because it is so perfect to say, basically, you have to, it's like flipping the perception of what we think, and it's flipping it on its head, because actually we create the event through living from the heart, because by doing that the vibration rises, and then we flip our old paradigm of how we live our lives completely the other way around. Hence this card, which couldn't be more perfect. I love you from the heart of my bottom. So what I'm going to share today is a lovely lady contacted me and sent me a sermon. She said that she was following my videos and there was a message that there was a huge sync in a message in a video. And she basically said, I thought I would send you the sermon I did this past Sunday when I filled in for our pastor. It seems to be a sync with the letter you read out. I appreciate you so much and watch your videos every single morning. They are so uplifting and help in so very many ways. So when I read, thank you, when I read her sermon, it was insane the amount of syncs. So if you follow this channel, I do a crystal grid based around the forest lovers who are all entwined for eternity around the oak tree. Not only that, but duck symbology is huge. Ducks, once they find their ducks, they mate for life. Anyway, and there's some various things that we all share, synchronicities, you know, all over the world. People are moving into this love vibration, all share the same songs. And just as I was doing this, the song Love Me Like You Do by Ellie Goulding came on. And then after that was the I Feel It Coming, Daft Punk. So, right. So I'm going to read this lady's sermon because, again, it is so uplifting. And it is about, it is about living from your heart and trusting and having faith and believing that you are the magic. It's not outside of you. It's in you. It's flipping the view of how you see the world. That's where your power is. The power is realizing that you have to look at it in a totally, totally different way. You create the event. You are the event by how you think, by how you control your mind to live from the heart. Right, so I'm going to read it because it's brilliant. So, Jesus called a little child to stand before them. Truly, I tell you, he said, unless you become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And what are we doing? We're creating heaven on earth by living like children, by changing the perception of how to live. So and this is the lady's sermon. So the other day I was sitting outside my tree house on a big log we moved from my childhood home when one of the large branches in Mum's front yard broke from the weight of its unbalance last summer. I looked up just as a young eagle was flying directly over me. He was so close I could see the colour of his juvenile feathers. I smiled as he glided over the pine tree near my sacred spot, feeling as if I was blessed by the sacredness of something far greater than the mind can sometimes comprehend. Eventually, I moved inside and watched as 2 ducks landed so gracefully on the surface of my pond. Meanwhile, in the large oak tree outside one of the windows, a plump squirrel scurried to the blooming branch, sat down on his haunches and nibbled on something in his tiny hands. Outside the large glass door, which overlooks a beautiful okay, so look at this. Where I do these videos, there's a tree and there's squirrels that sit in there and are constantly, just so funny, outside the glass door, so funny. Okay, so outside the large glass door, which overlooks a beautiful field my little brother farms every year, I watched as 2 blackbirds landed simultaneously on branches, flowing out from both sides of my sacred spot. Even then, even though I was alone in every sense of the word, I felt so much love surrounding me, and quite frankly didn't feel alone at all. Graced by the presence of God's miraculous creations, the energy of connection prevailed. I felt the beauty of seeing things from a child's perspective. Everything was magical. The vibrant green grass, budding trees, busy wildlife, and the glimmering ripples on the pond's shimmering surface when submerged frogs penetrated the exterior. I have a frog on my desk as well. Funny. Because, of course, the frog turns into a prince. And also frog shamanic. There's a frog thing in shamanic healing, which is very powerful, about clearing energy. Okay, so I opened the windows and sat there listening to the pure symphony of nature's melody. It reminded me of one of my auntie's favourite songs, He Walks With Me. The chorus speaks volumes, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we carry there, none other has ever known. She references a Bible reference. So in John 15:26-27, Jesus says to his disciples, "When the advocate comes, whom I will send to you from the Father, the Spirit of truth, who goes out from the Father, he will testify about me. And you also must testify, for you have been with me from the beginning." In the dictionary, the word advocate is defined as one who pleads the cause of another. When he was on this earth, Jesus walked the talk, so to speak. He was an advocate for love. He didn't judge, but accepted all who were suffering, whether their struggles were physical or emotional. It didn't matter to him. Unconditional love was his platform, and he shared it with unwavering courage and conviction, despite the fact that he was most likely judged by people who were unaware of his pure intentions. He knew the great calling, love heals. It is the connection, the thread of our divinity. In John, blah, 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 Jesus says, "I have told you this, so that when their time comes, you will remember that I warned you about them. I did not tell you this from the beginning, because I was with you. But now I'm going to him who sent me. None of you asked me, 'Where are you going?' Rather, you are filled with grief because I have said these things. But very truly, I tell you, it is for your good that I am going away. Unless I go away, the advocate will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. When he comes, he will prove the world to be in the wrong about sin and righteousness and judgment. About sin, because people do not believe in me. About righteousness, because I am going to the Father, where you can see me no longer. And about judgment, because the prince of this world now stands condemned." I often say to people, you are divinity, experiencing divinity on this earth. You were born of love and will always be love. When Jesus was on this earth, he was a courageous advocate for love. In fact, Jesus spoke of love himself and through the prophets 311 times in the Bible. Love is spoken more than any other concept. When he had to leave to sit at the right hand of his Father, he told his disciples he would send an advocate, the Holy Spirit. It is my belief he sent the advocate to each and every one of us, that in fact the Holy Spirit lives within us, not outside of us. We are, all of us, each individual human soul, every tree, blade of grass, flower, rock, water dweller, feathered or furry animal, the sun, the moon, all the stars and planets are part of that divinity. There is no separation. only connection to what we have all known within the faith that sustains us. In our gospel today, there are two major things occupying Jesus' heart. The secret, Jesus said, was his relationship to the Father. The Father was in him, and he was in the Father. He told his disciples the relationship they would need to have after he left. It was a relationship not outside of themselves, but within them. As one pastor I read wrote, it would be the coming Holy Spirit who would make available to them the same principle of life by which Jesus himself lived. Then it would be the Son in them, and they in him. This was to be the secret of their life. Jesus didn't tell... Oh my goodness, it's long. Okay. I don't have to... So I'm not going to get through the whole thing, but let me go to the end. So it says, I gave all the children a magic rock and shell during the children's sermon as a reminder of their divinity in this world. I hope they will remember it each time they hold that rock in their hands. I hope you will too if you were lucky enough to receive one. So that's lovely, because I took all of the stones and the crystals that I used to Stonehenge to charge them on the summer solstice last year, and I have also given my twin a magic stone. So it was lovely. There are miracles and magic everywhere. Our hearts and our eyes and hearts can see and feel, but sometimes we get so busy in life we spend all of our time thinking about yesterday and tomorrow. We are given each precious present moment with loving intentions in mind. Be grateful for it all, because a simple walk in the garden is in fact a walk in heaven, a walk in paradise, and your unique journey is a stroke of faith's genius. Let the Spirit of truth guide you into all truths. Let what Jesus taught us about love be the source within you that shines no matter where you go or who you come into contact with. Be the advocate for love. It is what he sent to each of us. It is what we are meant to awaken to. Everything is connected, and you are in fact divinity experiencing divinity, a collective piece of the Trinity. Jesus is already here. He is in you. He is in me. He is in everything. Once you see it, the bridge between heaven and earth will have been built, and every day will become another chance to harness the possibilities of peace and hone the ancient of love. As John states, he, the Holy Spirit, will glorify me, for he will take what is mine and declare it to you. So, I mean, just such a beautiful... I missed out a big chunk in the middle, but I mean, the synchronicities in it were just crazy. All about the the tree house, the magic stones, the ducks, the frog. I mean, just everything. And it was just so lovely to, you know, to know that this... Oh, the other thing is, I must say, I've just seen it. What I forgot to say is that, talk about expecting the unexpected. This lady in her sermon names a particular name, and this name is very unusual, and it is the name of a friend of mine who had a baby without knowing. I mean, who has ever heard of that? Well, you do, but you just don't think it happens. Well, it did happen. She basically had a baby without knowing, totally unexpected, went almost full term, and somehow just didn't, you know, I don't know how it happened. Total freak, but basically she's had a baby, and really unusual name, and this lady names that name in this letter. So I was like, okay, that's the message, to keep believing in the unexpected. And thank you so much for sharing again, because it's so beautiful, this journey. So remember, it's you that creates the magic. We are here to basically flip the perception of how people live. All right, so keep creating your magic. All right, take care. Bye.